Hi, everybody. We're just waiting for
Hi.
people to join us and we'll begin. We're going to have an unusual beginning today because there's information in Act 1, Scene 2 that will apply to this scene we're doing. And so I want to take a look at the meeting between Marcellus and Horatio and Barnardo and Hamlet, because the ghost is talked of, and there may be some clues in that to what we should look for in the first scene. So you can just take a few minutes here. Does anybody have any questions or responses or anything they'd like to say? No, okay. Then just give us a few minutes and we'll begin. It's an interesting project because Randy and I now have spent every single night discussing Hamlet all over again. I mean, after all of these years and making discoveries, I went back to that author that I told you about, Dr. Flatter, and started to read his book and again, and found that I was reading it with new eyes, and that I found things in it that I had not realized when I first picked it up. I think I may have told you that when Randy and when we were doing Hamlet at the Guthrie, Randy played Hamlet. I was asked to help a dramaturg to some degree. The thing we discovered then was that every 12 days, something new was published about Hamlet. And for those of you who know Randy, we probably have all of those publications in this house. So, but it's an incredible thing to go back to. That was in the 70s when I picked this stuff up, and now getting involved with Hamlet again, I've gone back to them, and it's just eye-opening. The play, it never ends. Of course, you all know that. It's just the search never ends. And the more you think you've got it, you'll find something new and it'll take you on a new path. But I think it's one of the keys to why Shakespeare has lasted so long, because I think he gives us things to think about and questions rather than here's what it is, any kind of absolute viewpoint about anything, so that he shows it to us. I think that's what he meant by holding the mirror up to nature, that each one of us comes and brings something from our own nature to what we're seeing. And of course, my respect for him just grows with the years. I think it's why sometimes I don't know, somewhat offended that people don't seem to respect him as much as I feel they should, but that's personal. So, okay, I think we can begin. Hello to all of anybody else who's sitting in. What I asked Lee and Randy, and I'm going to ask Ben and Nick, why don't we do this? If you guys would do, Nick and Ben, do Marcellus and Barnardo. This is Act 1, Scene 2. And Randy and Lee will do Horatio. Lee and Randy will do Hamlet. Mostly because they know it, or they both done it and lived with it. And so I'd like it to just be presented so that we can pick up the information that's in it. Does everybody have it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Hail to your lordship.
I'm glad to see you well, Horatio, or I do forget myself.
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Oh, sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus.
My good lord.
I'm very glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what in faith make you from Wittenberg?
A truant disposition, good my lord.
I would not have your enemy say so, nor shall you do mine ear that violence to make a truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I prithee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Oh, thrift, thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven ere I had ever seen that day, Horatio. My father? Methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw? Who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father?
Season your admiration for a while with attent ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you.
Heaven's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Barnardo, on their watch in the dead waste and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure like your father, armed at all points exactly, cap a pay, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and steady. By them thrice he walked, by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst they, bestilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, whereas they had delivered both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good. The apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, upon the platform where we watched.
Oh, did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up it head, and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away, and vanished from our sight.
Oh, 'tis very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true. And we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, indeed, sirs. But this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight.
We do, my
My
lord.
lord.
Armed, say you,
Armed, my lord.
from top to toe.
My lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh, yes, he wore his beaver up,
What, looked he frowningly?
a countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale,
And fixed his eyes upon you.
most constantly.
I would I had been there.
It would have much amazed you,
Yeah, very like, very like. It stayed it long.
while one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer.
Longer.
Not when I saw it.
But his beard was grisly. No,
It was as I have seen it in his life, a sable, silvered.
I'll watch tonight. Perchance 'twill wake again.
I warrant you it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be treble in your silence still, and whatsoever else shall hap tonight, given an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves, so fare you well. Upon the platform, twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty.
Our duty to your honor.
Your love as mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms. That all is not well. I doubt some foul play. Would the night were come. Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise. though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
Okay, so let's see what we've found out in this scene that we can add to the first scene. I think that the thing that jumps out at me, and it's sort of in the middle, is his beard was grisly. No. It was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable silver. So what he's asking is, was his beard gray? Mostly gray, grisly. And Horatio says, no, it was a dark beard peppered with silver. So this ghost is appearing as he did as a younger man, not as the ghost who was buried. That younger man just may be the man who fought Fortinbras. So that connection with the ghost walking and the purgatory may be connected with the murder, his fair fight, yes, but the killing of Fortinbras. Now listen, before we get too far into that, I'll be right there, Sandy. The thing about thou shalt not kill, even in a fair fight, if you're not given your last rites, chances are the stain stays with you. And that will come out later in the play, that because he was murdered in the garden, he was never given last rites. So that may be one of the things that he's having to deal with in the afterlife. All of this, listen, I could create my own ghost at this point. I've done so much ghost research. It's not going to help us. It may whet your imagination, but it's not a matter of teaching the audience about ghosts. What I do is to look at this stuff to see what can I infuse the scene with that Shakespeare felt it important to put in, even though we've come years and years of years from the point of understanding ghosts that perhaps the way the Elizabethans would. However, I think that the question for you guys to know it as actors will help bump up, you know, your response to things on the stage. It's not about the audience getting everything, but it is about your imaginations being able to put forth a story. Okay, go ahead, Sandy. What were you going to say? Sandy?
Well, actually, I have two questions, and ironically, the first one was what you brought up, but that's not how I saw it on the page. So I just need to explain to me, because Hamlet says his beard was grisly, no? And Horatio says it was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable silvered. So isn't Horatio saying he looks exactly like I saw him in life?
No, because one of the things that he's saying, if you see in the folio, it's no without a question mark. So it seems that he's asked the question and Horatio has shaken his head no, because Hamlet is getting no off of. And then Horatio says, it is as I have seen it in his life, which tells us that Horatio knew old Hamlet when he was younger, a sable silvered. Do you see the connection?
Annie, that's what Sandy was saying, weren't you, Sandy?
No, well, okay, then I misunderstood.
Yeah.
No, it kind of a combination of the two. That explains it to me, Annie. Thank you. I took that. I didn't take anything Horatio said as disagreeing that he had gray in his beard, but I see the distinction you're doing. The other question I had is just because I haven't looked at a folio for a while until this is line 20. I think it is around line 20. When Hamlet says "in my mind's eye," and then Horatio is in parentheses, what does that mean, punctuation wise, Annie?
What is it that he's, wait, Sandy, I don't have my script open, so would you?
Okay, Horatio says, "Oh, where, my lord? In my mind's eye," and then Horatio is in parentheses. I'm just curious why.
Oh, okay, yeah, and that will happen throughout the play. It happens all the time.
Yeah,
What it is that the character says something, and then and then goes back to add the other character's name. It will happen with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, where they'll say, Hamlet, sir. The sir is in parentheses. So it's a kind of remembrance of what I've left out, you know? That's all it is. So he puts it in, and it's you'll see it in the parentheses.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
What struck me was when Horatio is describing this to Hamlet, what leapt out at me is the movement of the ghost, slow and stately. And he walks by them 3 times in the first 2 visits.
That's right. When Marcellus and Barnardo saw him.
And also there's a line about he fixed his gaze directly on us. So I think that is a clue as to maybe how Barnardo, Marcellus, and Horatio, when they encounter the ghost, how they react. Is the slow and stately something that they maybe hadn't expected? Is this different than what they know about the movement of ghosts?
I don't think so, only because I think if it were pertinent, then they would have a line that says, look, he walks this way, he should walk that way. Do you know what I mean? It was something that, however, I think what you're bringing up is important because it's going to be talked about often. Randy and I have had this conversation about that word stalk, and how the ghost is moving is very important in that scene when we go back to it. He doesn't just make quick moves. He does, this idea of even when he enters, I think you have to see this slow and stately. The ghost has to bring that in. You also will see he stalks away. Is that the idea of stalking away is usually connected with somebody who is angry.
Or someone who's caught.
Yes, that's right. But here's the other part of that is that this goes, you'll excuse me with my ghost stuff. If a ghost appears angry, it's most likely from hell or demonic. Benevolent spirits do not have anger. So all of what we're looking at here is about these men trying to understand what this specter is. Because he looks like the king. None of them accept him as the king. He's it. And even Marcellus says, has this thing appeared? And by the way, when I say it, start putting in the circumstances of a word. What circumstances would one call something a thing? It's a derogatory term. It's a low term. It's nothing that respects the kingship, certainly. It's a thing. It's an it. So they're not accepting that it's the king. What's troubling is that it looks like the king. And we know that devils this is in so many of his plays, the devil can put on a pleasing figure in order to damn someone. And it's another reason why ghosts like to take you off to a quiet place so that they can, demonic ones I'm talking about, so they can convince you to follow them or do whatever it is that they want done. But for the most part, the job here is to find out, what is this thing? All I can say is that it looks like he's in armor. That's what's unusual. He's not in a shrouding sheet. He's not screaming out of the grave, and he's not an angel. The other thing that was thought was that usually demonic figures had the smell of sulfur around them. Benevolent figures were glowing in light. This ghost has neither. So I think what Shakespeare has done is to say, you decide, along with Hamlet, that it's not, he hasn't told us what this ghost is. It has all sorts of elements of possible good, possible evil, the cock crowing and all of that. So I think that's, Larry, I think that part of the stalking is important because Horatio in the first scene is going to take these clues and come to the conclusion that this bodes some eruption to our
Mhm.
state. And it's not just the appearance of the ghost, I mean, the fact that he showed up. Horatio asks questions, and those questions lead him to believe something is very wrong. And you've just seen the same thing mirrored in Hamlet. He says something is wrong here. I have to see this for myself. Hamlet's questions also deal with, as I said earlier, was he angry? Well, you know, he says, and you said, no, he was more in sorrow than in anger, because anger, it's usually ghosts that come back, specters that come back angry, crying for revenge, crying for some kind of justification, something. And you say, no, he was sorrowful. Even though earlier in the scene, when we go back to it, you say, when in an angry parle, he smote the sledded poleaxe on the ice. So there's a moment in that scene where the ghost has the sorrowful face that Horatio sees. And I think it's great fun to find out where can we plant all of this. As I said before, we tend to take that first scene and it's basically, where's Hamlet? Come on, get through it. Or let's play soldier. Who's there? Nay, answer me, stand in a foot. Or some kind of odd something that we do with it. I love the fact that we also relegate our women to those roles now. Oh, yeah, that's where we can stick a woman, put her in. You know, rather than seeing that this play depends on that first scene. That ghost is the heart of Hamlet's dilemma. And that's why he's got to see that. He's got to see it. And now as we move forward, he's going to talk to it. And there's only once he says, I'll call thee father, Dane, that one time he's willing to submit to that. Other than that, he doesn't. When he says, Randy, at the end of your final, Hamlet's final speech, if hell itself, right?
Yeah.
Lets me hold my tongue. Again, it's because so much of what Horatio and the guys have passed on to you suggests that this is not your wonderfully loving father, that this spirit, this specter has qualities that are highly questionable.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Hamlet realizes that.
Right.
Because he sees it as an it also. He doesn't know what this entity is. He only knows that it comes in the figure of his father.
Yes.
Armed.
Yes. Yep. From head to foot.
Yeah. And I don't know how often when Hamlet was growing up, he saw his father armed.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
one feels that perhaps the last time was when he had the fight
Yep.
with Norway.
Yep.
Because that's what Horatio, he doesn't say that every time we went to battle, he's wearing what he wore every time we went to battle over the last 30 years. He's saying that's the armor he wore at that particular time.
Well, regardless of that, for his father to come back armed must signify something.
Yes.
There must be a reason for it, for this image to, you know, to happen.
Yeah.
And the question becomes, why are you here? What is this? What are you saying to us?
Right. Okay. So let's, anything else that anybody noticed? Here's another thing I want to add to that. And that is that when the two guys speak together, remember, they didn't plan, they didn't say whatever he says, let's just agree. That's on the spot. We did, my lord, we did. And that shows us that how dependable their witnessing of this is, that they both are seeing the same exact armed, my lord. They both do it together. So we can depend on the fact that they did both see what it was that happened. It's a wonderful device that's in there about me. Even when Horatio says, well, one can tell 100, and they both say longer. They both feel it was a longer period of time that the ghost was there. So that partnership is very important to the scene as well. Okay, and to the first scene. Lee, what were you going to say?
I think just to take a look at that line within his truncheon's length.
Yes.
You know, that's very informative
Yes.
about the blocking of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Randy and I talked about
I
it this
wouldn't be
morning.
surprised, Lee, if the close proximity of the ghost helps in his final disappearance. Say the three guys attempt to corner him, to confine him, to actually make him stop in place, you know, but it provides the opportunity for a technical device where the ghost just kind of drops through the floor and presto, he's
that's
gone.
interesting. Yeah.
You know, but the guys are the things that catch the audience's eye and ear,
Like Gloucester's
diversion,
blinding.
but they
Yeah, in a way.
conceal the disappearance.
I think the other thing that it adds is just how terrifying this is.
Oh,
And if he were yards and yards away, one could point and say, "Oh, over there." But
No.
we can't.
And yet you often see that.
Yeah, that's right.
well, the tis here, tis gone doesn't make any sense if he's at a distance.
Well, why they don't-
If he's in
runs
close
off, why don't they
proximity
go
to
after
those
him?
guys and they're moving in on him and he disappears, it's like, whoa, okay. We tried to corner him, but he eluded us.
And of course, this is why on Zoom we can talk about it, but we can't.
Yeah.
Won't be able to do it, which is why, you know, one hopes that we leave this information to Ben or Nick or any of you guys
they
to
do
do
their
the
full
next production of Hamlet with all this stuff in it, right? Sandy, you want to say something? No, okay. Larry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, I wasn't sure if you're looking at chats because Doug had a question. What does doubt mean when Hamlet says, "I doubt some foul play"?
Oh, doubt means suspect. It doesn't mean the doubt that we know. It means I suspect some foul play. Okay. Larry.
When Hamlet asks Horatio what looks he frowningly, and Horatio says, "A countenance more in sorrow than in anger," and Hamlet says, "Pale or red?" What does the red signify?
Anger. When one is furious, one is red in the face.
But Horatio has answered that before. When he says, "A countenance more in sorrow than in anger," is Hamlet just making sure?
Needs further clarification, Larry.
Yes, that's right. I think
Hamlet needs further clarification.
Okay.
You know? You say he wasn't angry. So was he pale or was he red?
No, he was pale.
Ah.
Okay. I understand that now.
So it makes it more specific. I think he boils it down to something more specific than the emotion. That he starts with the emotion, and then we get the specific of what Horatio saw of the red or pale.
Also, too, I think it suggests that Horatio got a good look at his face.
Well, he looks at him during the conjuring or whatever you want to, not conjuring.
And Hamlet even asked, did he fix his eyes on you? And Horatio said, most constantly.
Yeah.
Yep. And Horatio's the new element on the third night. You know, the other guys say he walked by them 3 times. They couldn't say anything. They were so frightened. And then he left. That's what they report to us, to Horatio. But when Horatio comes on, now something else begins to happen. And we have to see, of course, in looking at the scene, at what point does the ghost recognize Horatio? And then what's happening between the ghost and Horatio in that scene.
Yeah.
So it's packed. Okay. Okay. I think we should go back to the first scene. I want to, since Sandy, you brought up the folio, I do want to talk a little bit about two things. The comma, I think Randy said the first session that he was in love with the comma. I have to say that I've become even more in love with the comma. And why is because it helps things stay so spontaneous. It feels as if when the character's speaking, everything before the comma is all the character expects to say. And then what follows, one needs the comma to think of what one is going to say, not ponder. So it's not a pause where we dwell, but it is the idea or the thought appears in your mind to speak the next line. When I was going over that book I told about, Shakespeare's Producing Hand, one of the suggestions that this scholar says that he says to allow that to happen, put a little pause in that comma, but it's not a stop, it's generating what you're going to say next. So let me grab my script here. You see, can you take a look at the first comma that we'll come upon is going to be, "'Tis now struck 12. Right? Then we have a comma. "Get thee to bed, Francisco." Most of the time, people allow that to be the only thought. It's 12, therefore go to bed. But if you take a little thought before that, look what happens to the line. Answer the question. You come most carefully upon your hour. "'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco." So I change a little bit rather than making that one long thought without the comma. The thought of "get to bed" comes after he's answered Francisco's you've come most carefully. It's something you have to play with. It's not, I promise you, it's not going to come naturally. You're going to find that, and I find this with the folio, when people deal with the folio and you teach them the basics of it, what happens is it's just the technicalities that everybody works on. But I said this last week, it is an interpretive tool. You are the actor, and nothing must stand in the way of the actor's true feelings. So what you want to do is to use those punctuation marks to see where you need to go to allow that character to feel what that moment is. Okay, so here's the thing. Horatio, this little moment here, it's a tiny moment, we don't have to dwell on it, but when he says "'tis now struck 12, he's saying why he's here. Let's not talk about it any further. It's 12, go to bed, get him out of there. And then he starts to go, and what does he say before he goes? "For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold." And here's the clincher, and here, look at the folio. "I am sick at heart." That "sick" is a long spelling. When Barnardo hears that he's troubled, he's soul sick. What's the reason? Now, I've seen scholars say that there's a general malaise in Denmark because Claudius is king. And well, good luck in letting the audience know that. I think your program's going to start to get pretty long with footnotes. But I think if you follow through with Barnardo's, everything being secretive, and that was said, by the way, in that last scene we just read, in dreadful secrecy, they imparted this to me. So did Francisco is that why he's miserable? Did he see the ghost? And here's how Bernard, he doesn't come out and say, "Did you see the ghost?" He says, "Have you had quiet guard?" Not a mouse. He doesn't say, "Well, I did, but." He says, "Not a mouse stirring." And then he can go. Now he can go. And then he hesitates again. Why? Because he's going to be alone on the watch. So I need company. If you see Marcellus and Horatio, I don't want to be here alone, right? And it all falls into place. Okay, so that's the comma. The other thing I want you to start to pay attention to is when there's a repetition. When Marcellus says, Horatio says, "It is but our fantasy." Later on, he's going to say, "Horatio, isn't this more than fantasy?" It's a repeat. And oftentimes people do the second one as if it's never been said before. but it's a wonderful connection with something that's been said and with the other actor. So look for those moments where those repetitions happen. Yeah.
So it's an intensification too, and makes the scene more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's our goal, right? I mean,
With regards to the comma, for me, it makes it sound less like actors merely spouting off what they memorized.
yes.
The Commedia dell'arte was very popular on the continent while Shakespeare was working, and they did improvised, performances. And the idea of a written performance is to make it sound like it's improvised on the spot, by these characters engaged in their circumstance. But it's not, of course, because we have memorized it. But the comma helps us with giving off the feeling that, the character is thinking on his feet right there in that moment, coming up with an additional thought or this or that, So it feels like it's improvised, but it's
The byproduct of that,
absolutely-
I think, I've been playing with the comma.
Yeah.
During King Lear, we had a conversation about it before I got into those rehearsals. And of course in this, and what I believe we talked about was, well, that space, that giving it just a little breath. I found that what that also does, in addition to everything else we're talking about here, is to solidify the image that precedes the comma. So the audience doesn't lose touch with it. Not 'tis now struck 12, get thee to bed, Francisco. If you ask the audience what time it is, bedtime, it does not, they'll get 12 clearly. And then he goes on. That will be the effect, I think.
Yeah. It does a lot of things. I mean, I think that's where ignoring punctuation is crazy, because I think that you'll find exactly what we're talking about is that it starts to show us things about a line that we just take for granted. And I said earlier, I've worked with so many actors who feel their job is basically to be a dictionary. I'm up here because I believe the audience doesn't understand it, so my job is to make people understand it. Or if I say it fast enough, we'll get past the hard stuff, and it'll sound like I know what I'm saying because I'm going fast. But I would like to pull everybody back from that and show that when you do what we're talking about, it actually makes more sense. And it will let it land in the reality of a moment. That's what, to me, becomes, I learn how to toss things away. I think the same thing you'll find with scansion. Scansion is not just a system of to-dump, to-dump, to-dump. Who the hell wants to sit there for that? But it is something that shows that something in me is causing me to stress something. My heart is in what I'm saying now. And so that's what you get, this incredible pattern with scansion that is not just this rigid delivery of rhythm. I think if it's rhythm, then I'd say get rid of it. We want life on the stage. And so I think that that's what the comma, the colon, the semicolon is going to. I always think of this when we were at APT. Somebody was so excited, they said to me, Annie, I found my colon. And I thought, well, good, we're safe now, So we can take it too far. But each one has a meaning, and you will bring that to it, Lee. I think what you brought up, what Randy brought up, what I'm talking about, everybody will see the comma. And I'm telling you, the lights will go off as actors. You'll look at it, and for us directors as well, you look at it and you think, oh, I see what he's getting at. Rather than just this line of here's the line, now who's next kind of thing, right? Let's take a look at it. I've mixed it up again. We're now down, we're at a point now where there are 3 more combinations, and then each actor will have done every role in the first scene. So thank you, Mr. Kim. So let's Lee, Francisco, Randy, Barnardo, Larry Marcellus,
Mhm.
and Nick, you're on, Horatio. And Ben, sit this one out. You're up next.
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Barnardo,
He.
come most carefully upon your hour.
'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand, who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegeman to the Dane.
Give you good night.
A farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Barnardo has my place. Give you good night.
Hola, Barnardo.
Say, what is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What? Has this thing appeared again tonight?
I've seen nothing.
Yeah, hold on, guys. I want to start again. Because it's feeling, to my ear at least, it's feeling a bit measured. And and that may be because of all the talk of commas and punctuation. But what I'd like to start to discover again is the mystery of the night. Let me just set the scene a little bit. When the play starts, it's dark. I'm going to go on the line, not a mouse stirring. Absolute silence. Yes. And we hear 12 bells ring out into that silence, and then silence. And then this voice comes through that silence. And that voice comes with fear, because it might be the ghost. I don't know who it is. It's dark, it's cold. I don't know who it is. I'm alone. And that's the first moment of fear and dread. That disturbs the man who's on watch. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Why is that voice coming out of me? No, we don't do it this way. And then it gets calm when we get to the reveal, which is Barnardo. I do want to add one little thing that I learned recently, and that start looking for the action after the period. I know if we're on our feet, it would be so easy to do this, but remember, I think, yes, the last time we talked about, does he recognize Barnardo's voice when he says, "Long live the king"? I'm going to suggest that something happens at the end of "Long live the king." I offer this as a suggestion. What happens if Barnardo comes out from wherever he was in the darkness, presents himself? Francisco takes a closer look. Barnardo? Then we get the "you come most carefully upon your hour." But I think if we can set up the fear, the dread, the night, the quiet, the dark, the cold, let's just see what happens, where you guys can take it. And don't worry too much. I mean, you guys are all
I'm sorry. I just want to be clear on Francisco's action, because not having seen the ghost or knowing about the ghost, he's on a different. He is strictly doing the watch.
Yes.
At it, he's all in, right?
Yes, except
not that fear.
The reason that there is fear is that he's doing this watch, but has no idea why. He doesn't know the enemy. Remember, Horatio's going to have to explain to them why they're keeping the watch. So any voice that comes out, you know what I mean, breaks the rules of the watch. So it's a sign of, is that somebody trying to trick me? That's what I'm talking about, just the dread of why he doesn't even know why he's there. And remember, he's going to say he's sick at heart, he's cold. So that's what it's filled with, Lee, not
But do you see any distinction in the quality of how he shows up as compared to the other gentlemen when they arrive, or is
Wait,
it?
say it again, I
of
didn't hear the
same
first part.
quality? Sorry,
Again,
I said, do you see any distinction in the quality of his emotional state from
so I think that, yes, I
Francisco
do.
and Bernardo's?
I do. I think Bernardo is terrified because he's afraid it might be the ghost.
Ghost,
I think
yeah.
there's a different level of fear, but somebody who is trying to hold it together as a soldier doing his job, but still impacted by this voice coming out of nowhere.
Okay.
No, what? You don't seem like I satisfied you.
I just don't.
I'd rather you go with
The
your idea.
source of his fear. Do you know what I mean? I get the watch thing and okay. I'm sorry. What are you?
I'd rather you go with your gut, because then I can feed back and say, this is what it appeared to me, rather than me laying something on you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Then we both wallow in confusion. I would rather you go with what you're feeling, and let's see what comes out of that. Okay?
Yeah.
I know you have a feel for it, so let's throw that into the mix.
Sure. I really do feel it does rely somewhat, or maybe more than some other things, on the physical,
Yeah,
on what that shape
big
is.
time. Big
It's like
time.
a boom, boom. What are you doing over there?
Yep,
What the
yep,
hell?
yep,
What the
yep,
hell?
yep, yep.
And then who is it? And then this guy comes, Bernardo, what the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
You know?
You're
Right.
absolutely
You
right.
behaving so strangely.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's why I'm urging something fake, something that just pretends to fill that in.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Once again. Oh, I'm sorry.
Who's there?
Wait. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just have to take a minute with Nick. A
Yeah.
piece of him is that he doesn't believe in this. He doesn't believe they saw
Yeah.
ghosts. He thinks it's their imagination. They're out in the cold and dark. They don't, so this is not real. There's no ghosts.
Okay.
Rather than, he's not, all of his knowledge of ghosts well, maybe they did see a ghost. This is no, there was no ghost. There's no such thing as ghosts. I don't believe, you know what I mean? That skepticism needs to be in place. So when you see the ghost, it knocks you off your feet. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Bernardo?
He.
Oh, you come most carefully upon your hour.
Well, 'tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart.
Why, have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand! Who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegemen to the Dane.
Give you good night.
A farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo has my place. Give you good night.
Hola, Barnardo.
Say, is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Well, welcome, Horatio. And welcome, good Marcellus.
What? Has this thing appeared again tonight?
Oh, I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him touching this dreaded sight, twice seen of us. Therefore, I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of the night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush, tush, 'twill not appear.
Well, sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story, what we 2 nights have seen.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Barnardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one.
Peace. Break thee off. Look where it comes again.
In the same figure, like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio.
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio.
What art thou that usurped this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of Barry Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
Oh, see, it stalks away.
Stay! Speak! Speak. I charge thee, speak!
'Tis gone, and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
For my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes,
Is it not like the king?
as thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when he the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once when in an angry parle he smote the sledded Polacks on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Thus twice before. And just at this dead hour, with martial stalk, hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work, I know not. But in the gross scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Good. Now sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war? Why such impressive shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Who is that can inform me?
That can I. At least the whisper goes so. Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands which he stood seized on to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gauged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras, had he been vanquisher, as by the same covenant and carriage of the article design, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras of unimproved metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there sharked up a list of landless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise that hath a stomach in it, which is no other, and it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us by strong hand and terms compulsive those foresaid lands so by his father lost, and this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post-haste and roamage in the land. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. Across it, though it blast me, Stay, illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast abhorred thy life, extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
Shall I strike at it with my partisan?
Do if it will not stand.
'Tis here.
'Tis here.
'Tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vain blows, malicious mockery.
Was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started, like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock that is the trumpet to the day, doth with his lofty and shrill sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein, this present object made probation.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some says that ever against that season comes wherein our Savior's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then, they say, no spirit can walk abroad. The nights are wholesome. Then no planets strike. No fairy talks, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is the time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn in russet mantle clad walks o'er the dew of yon eastern hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint with him with it? Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty?
Let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Okay, so here's the thing. See if this makes sense to you, if you felt the same thing that I'm feeling. I'm feeling that it lacks circumstance. I'm hearing the words, but it seems to me that the information, particularly those long speeches, they're being done with this kind of rational, this is what it is, and I saw this, and I think we have to do this, and Norway did this, and this. And I think the next step for it has got to be what that means to you. Now, I understand that bouncing roles around, and I think that's why Randy wanted this exercise, is to see how can we each take responsibility for each of these roles and not just something we're assigned to do. But that is what would be necessary for us all to do it this way, because it means the work you have to take on is the work of 4 characters and not just your own. So first of all, do you understand what I'm saying? Is that clear? Am I clear in what's because I'm finding that the information that we're imparting here is I'll show you an example, and I think we've done this before. Everybody seems to know pretty much what they're doing with market Horatio. Looks it not like the king, speak to it Horatio, would be spoke to Horatio. It seems like a pretty obvious action, getting Horatio, who has the ability to somehow exercise ghosts. And by the way, that's why he's there. He's not there just to see the ghost and to pat you guys on the shoulder saying, yes, it was a ghost. He's there because you're fearful of this not being a benevolent spirits rarely come back. And there would be very definite signs. This specter that's coming back seems like it on one hand, we have the wonderful spirit, the wonderful king that we all loved and thought was above doing harm. And he's doing in this disguise, or in this illusion, he's doing things that demonic spirits do. That's why you're harrowed with fear and wonder. Because on one hand, you should all be getting down on your knees to the king, and on the other hand, you should be hiding behind someplace so that he doesn't steal your soul. That's what's under here. But that's why Horatio would be called in, is he would have an ability to somehow exercise. That would be part of one of the things that he would know how to do, should it come to that, if they were that threatened by it.
Can I just say something, Annie? What the scene seems to be lacking is the extraordinary event that's taking place. Yeah. It should energize the guys. Even whether the ghost is on, they've seen the ghost. Now what happens to them? What is the feeling inside after experiencing something like that? And it's the actor that's got to experience it for us in the audience. What is it? What's the reality of that? For you, for each of you, for all of us. What's it like to have this thing? We saw the king buried. We're all at his funeral. We saw him dead. Why is he back? What does this mean? But it should energize the emotions. It should toss our emotions up in the air and wonder, what the hell is going on here? There's no calm moment after experiencing something. How could there be? How could anybody be calm? It'd be almost like, am I going mad? What just happened? Right? So the words that come out of our mouth have got to reflect that somehow.
Yeah. Yes, and I think that's why when we look at it again, that's why I keep saying that the ghost is the core of everything that's going to happen from this point. You have to, let me also say, don't wait for truth. This is a point now where we're playing. We are playing, and there's enough in here on an imaginative level to play. Looks it not like the king? It harrows me with fear, and it would be spoke to. Question it, Horatio. What art thou? That, energy. Brown used to say energy.
Yeah, one of the things too is when we work alone, we actors, when we're working alone, is the time to go slow, to be patient, to know what the hell you're saying, and to pull all the words together. When we get together, it's loose time, it's free time, it's jump in and dive in and, battle the currents of the scene. That's the time to cut loose. Not be cautious, not be careful. That's your own private time. That's when you're working on the scene, But when we get together, it's time to play like kids.
Makes
I
sense.
think, maybe.
Let me ask this. What are you unclear about in terms of what you're saying? Because that's going to be part of it too.
Yeah,
Is there anything that you guys are unclear
It's puzzling.
about?
I mean, I won't say that I know everything of what Horatio is saying in his speech.
Uh-oh.
I think I got a pretty good idea at some
had 3
points.
words that were absolutely wrong, so you read them wrong off the page. So it may not be
Well, there you go.
but yeah. So and again, I'm not asking, it's not a test that I'm going to grade you on.
Oh.
What I want to know for you as an actor, what do you need to help bring that that energy. I mean, you in telling that story, let's say Horatio's first story, Nick, about the armor. What is he saying? And you can paraphrase it if you want, but I want to make it yours rather than what's off that page,
Yeah.
because it's careful now, and I want it to be yours. What is he saying?
That's what he wore when he fought Fortinbras.
Right. And so what does that mean? I mean, even the way you're telling me about it, he's in armor, and I remember that I saw that battle. Can you fill that with that?
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I mean? Because I think, yes, you know what it's saying, out of a dictionary, but what I need is to know how it impacts you to pass the information on.
Okay.
That's the next, and particularly that speech, that one, and all of Horatio's speech, but that one, because you have to talk about a contract that was made between these two men. That's exact, and those are $5 words that he uses. These are not, you don't fall under the, it's not just you, but don't fall under the trap that, well, the Elizabethans, that's an Elizabethan word, and I'll just make it sound like it's a 21st century word. It's not. The Elizabethans had the same trouble with moiety as you have. So find a way. He's trying to be very specific in that contract to show that it was equal, At any rate, that's the next, that's the thing about Horatio. You'll just ask your buddy Randy, he'll tell you how hard that speech is. He runs away from it.
Yeah, really.
Like Maupassant.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and so Larry, same thing with Marcellus. What are you saying at the end when you're talking about the cock crowing, and when it's Christmas time, is a whole different situation? What are you telling them?
I have to look at it first.
Yeah.
He's talking about what is, I believe, is pretty well known as folklore. The common folk all know this, that especially at Christmas time, the bird of dawning that sings all night, and then no spirit can walk, no fairies can cast their spells, no witch can do this, because it's such a gracious and hallowed time.
Yeah, let me add one little thing to it, because you're on the track. It's the cock. The cock crew, and that's why the ghost left. You're saying at Christmas time, the cock crows all through the night. So it's a connection to this event and what you know of the
right. And what we have just seen didn't go anywhere until the cock crowed, and then it went.
Yes, and that's a symbol of daylight.
Right.
A symbol of daylight, and all erring spirits run back to the grave at daylight. That's why these men react to that. That's why I keep saying it's not a matter of, oh, well, Annie knows ghost lore here. It's a matter of what is it that they're seeing in this specter? What is it? And so we have signs of, you even say early on, this dreaded sight is what you call it when you're talking about about why Horatio's poo-pooed it, this dreaded sight. These words that are used about this thing, nobody says this wonderful, this light and loving spirit. No one makes any positive response to what they're seeing. This is terrifying. I keep saying this. The only positive thing is it's a king. That's why it's so wrong, because our king would not be in hell. That's why Horatio, by the way, Nick, has that line about, so this side of our known world did think him. The known world is here. The other world is the world he went to when he died. So
how do you feel about what you're saying at any given time?
Yeah.
That's what we all have to ask.
That's the next step.
What do we feel about it? why do we say the words? What are we trying to express? I mean, we use our heads a lot, but I think when these guys see that ghost and experience that event, the head goes out. Your brain is blown by the experience. So, you try to be reasonable, but you're fighting for every ounce of reason.
Filled almost to
But-
jelly. Yeah.
Yeah. You're practically babbling, I would think.
Listen, guys, it's very exciting. I want to jump in and do it. I want to jump in and,
Oh,
and
me
at
too.
least do one section of it, so that we're not just Randy and I are just rambling
Good.
on
Good.
here.
Do it.
I-
What section?
One quick question.
Yeah.
Towards the end, before the ghost leaves, Marcellus says, "Do you want me to strike at it?" And then Horatio, "Yes, if it will not stand." And then, "It's here." Somebody else, "No, 'tis here." And then it's gone. And then just a couple of lines later, Barnardo says, "It was about to speak when the cock crew." So maybe, I guess this would be in the staging of it, when they go, "'Tis here." Perhaps what they're seeing is about to speak. No, he moves. "No, 'tis here."
No, hold
No.
on, no, because it's after Horatio's line about hiding treasure. And then then the cock crows. He was about to speak when the cock crew, then he goes, that's why then he says, "Stop it." So he's gone before that, what you're suggesting. He's already started out. You see what I'm saying? "'Tis here, 'tis here. Oh, shall I strike at it with my partisan?" It's already on its way. Horatio wants him to stop him. So the cock crowing happens before that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why it goes into the next section. And by the way, as you bring it up, even there, shall I strike at it with my, do I strike a ghost? What good is striking a ghost going to be? This is why I
Right.
mean, the words are straightforward and definition, what they're saying. But what they're being used for is very important, because it has this extra meaning behind it of not Horatio, tell me how to use a partisan. It's much
Right.
more about, what's a partisan going to do to a ghost? Shall I strike it
Yeah.
with my partisan? Do if it will not stand. These are ideas on the spot. They don't know what to do. They've never confronted a ghost, and God knows they've never tried to stop one.
Mhm.
Same thing with Horatio. "I'll cross it though it blast me." What a courageous move on your part. I am going to sacrifice my soul and stop this thing to get to the bottom of it. All of that is in this scene. That's what the stakes are. So even though the words, and I know, listen, guys, I know that part of it is we've already spent so much time talking about meaning and the intellectual start of it, but you only do that so everything whets your imagination, and then you go with it. But that's what we have to create. I believe that the actor's job in this is to create how terrifying this specter is, for all of the reasons that you will say. And that's why I think it's constantly reiterated. Doesn't it look like the king? That's not that. He's not saying, isn't it demonic there? He's saying, doesn't it look like the king? Yes. As you do in looking in the mirror. Yes. So that's that section. But it's all about figuring out, what is this? And then coming to the conclusion that the only way we're going to get detailed information about it is bringing it to Hamlet. And that's why we all have to agree that this is the right thing to do, because you two have watched it. You weren't able to speak to it. I'm the authority, Horatio, and I'm not able to get it to stay. The only other recourse here is to go to Hamlet. Why? Because it's been 3 nights and you believe it's coming back. And if it's coming back night after night, Denmark's in trouble. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I am Italian, you know, that's why I get a little excited. Can we just do that do that section where the ghost comes in for the second time?
From
Sure.
But soft.
Yeah.
But soft. Behold. Lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it, though it blast me. Stay, illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily for knowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast abhorred in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
So I strike at it with my partisan?
Do, if it will not stand.
'Tis here.
'Tis here.
Is gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical to offer the show of violence. For it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
Was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started, like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock is the trumpet to the day, doth with his lofty and shrill-sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein this present object made probation.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some says that ever against that season comes wherein our Savior's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say,
Hold on.
Yeah.
Take it as a prayer, almost like a prayer. I wish it were Christmas. I
Okay.
wish it were a time when I could, ease
Okay.
your own heart about, let's see what happens.
Okay,
Good. Go ahead.
it faded on the crowing of the cock. Some says that ever against that season comes, wherein our Savior's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say no spirit can walk abroad. The nights are wholesome. Then no planets strike. No fairy talks, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is the time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn in russet mantle clad walks o'er the dew of yon high eastern hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet.
Okay, Nick, slow it down a little bit because this is important information.
Okay.
And so what happens is because of his upset, your response is just, I partly believe that too. Calm him down
Okay.
and find solace in the russet mantle clad. The sun is coming up. The night's horrors now are past. But here's the next task.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
You want to cue him, Larry, please?
Sure. No fairy talks, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed, so gracious is the time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, The morn in russet, mantle-clad, walks o'er the dew of yon high eastern hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, the spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty?
Good. One more time, just the very last line, simplify it. Do you agree?
Okay.
Agree this is the right thing to do? Try.
Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty?
Let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Good. In order for the end to make sense, the middle has to be filled with that dread, that fear, that what is this? And you guys will bring to life the threat that it poses to Denmark. And of course, and I think, Lee, you hit it on the head. If you're not up, I mean, almost all of this is staged. All of this is about who moves where, when, except for the moment when Barnardo and Horatio are sitting down and he's starting to retell the story. But it is a very active, physically active scene. So what we can do now is simply see, okay, how can we pull out of the text that world the best we can? But damn hard. But you know, the other thing too is to not forget this was done in daylight. There were no lights when Shakespeare did it, so he was relying a lot on the language to create that world. You know, so that I think that's a challenge to us. I'm just, let me see if anybody has anything to say, and I'll shut up for a minute. You know, come on, somebody. Does it, I mean, it makes sense, right? That's what we're looking for. I guess what I'm finding for myself is every line, the tiniest little line that we take for granted is linked into the dread of the moment. The newness of all of this. We've never seen a ghost before. No one on that stage has ever seen a ghost before.
Or in life.
Right.
So
Yes.
I think you know, the scene poses a challenge to an actor's imagination. Shakespeare has written a scene and he says, okay, you actors, you count yourself good, huh? Now make the audience believe what I've written. Make them believe that you are in the presence of a ghost or an extraordinary entity of some sort, of a man who's, and taking on the image of a man whose funeral you were at. What kind of imagination you got? You got the stuff that can make the audience believe this? That's what he does. Throws the gauntlet down to an actor and he says, okay, do it.
You're on.
He also played the ghost.
Convince the audience.
He was
Not
right
just
on stage.
perform at the scene, but actually live it in the moment. What is that like?
And
How
Nick
good is your
both brought
imagination?
new things to it. Nick was much better second time through
Yeah.
because you allowed the circumstance to pull you away from your carefulness of it. And that's what it is. You know what you're saying, so play it. You know, that's what it comes down to. The same thing, Larry, what I mentioned at the with Marcellus, the suggestion about it almost as if after the dread of this night, a little bit of Christmas, a little bit of you know, a blessing is called for here. It's very hard for me to put that into an action for you, but
Right. No, I understand what you're going for. And I keep forgetting that dawn is coming. It's starting to become light. And that gives Marcellus time to breathe because he knows with the dawn that things are going to be better, at least for a while. They're not going to be confronted by this thing, whatever they have seen that looks like the king. And just all the attendant sounds that kind of go with mourning. You know, certain birds don't begin their song until the dawn starts. So in my imagination, hearing all those, like, that's happy life.
However, I would say be careful, just because the next speech is the introduction of that. And for me, if you
Yes, you're right.
if you play what's not put in by a character just yet, that it does change the dynamic. So
Right.
you have to
Yeah. But again, I think all I'm looking for at this point, because I don't think he's past it, I think he's still in it. But again, he's
Emotionally in it.
like when people pray, when people believe in something and they've, you know, some horrible thing has happened, you want what you believe to be the thing that keeps you from the horror, not the daylight, so much as I've heard that at Christmas time. I almost feel that this speech is even not necessarily a kind of group speech, that one is standing almost in a stupor of, you know, at Christmas something happened. My only point is, it's not just a kind of dry, here's the fact about crows at Christmas. you
Right.
know?
Can I just make a suggestion? Maybe he does the speech in order to calm himself down.
Yeah.
He's still running on high emotion. You don't turn off emotions on and off. You know, there must be a residual of what you've just experienced. And maybe the speech is such that it's an attempt on his part to just find a calm space, just, you know, to find it. But the emotion has got to be there. The emotion of what you've just experienced has got to be there underneath it all. Even with Horatio's speech, trying to get it together, we've got to tell young Hamlet. I mean, the feelings must still be there.
Yeah, Sandy, go ahead.
Slightly off topic. A
Okay.
question came up for me that I don't think I've ever thought of before. And that is, when is it in the calendar year? Do we know that? I mean, it says it's bitter cold, and then he starts talking about Christmas. So it's just a curiosity of mine. Do we know what time of year?
Sandy, if we think that old Hamlet was taking a nap in his orchard when he was poisoned, okay, it must have been at a warm time during the summer or a warm day in fall, you know, that he could do that. And then the funeral takes place. And then this is about 2 months later.
Okay, so
Right.
it could very well be like November. I mean, it could
Approaching,
very well
yeah,
be approaching
yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
time. Okay,
Sure.
I was just
Sure.
curious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, right. And so the thing is that's important is it's not Christmas.
No.
Right.
You know, that it was nice if it were, then we wouldn't be having the scene.
No.
But
This
I think
has never crossed my mind before.
Yeah, sure.
I think Ben raised last time the timing of all of this, and I think it does take, we do have to figure that
Piece it out.
out. Because Hamlet's going to, in his soliloquies, he's going to say a little month, or not a month, not even a month. The month, you know, the month is talked about, and then when we get the play within the play, it's twice 2 months. So I think it is worth our time to figure out the calendar on it. But yeah, we talked about it, and I think that if it were, and it's Denmark, you know, so whatever we know about the weather in Denmark is that it is kind of summer or early fall. And it's a very short time. That's the other element in this. It's a very short time since the king was buried.
Yeah.
You know, it's all new. And that's what's stunning about him coming back as well, or at least this. That's why I think there's a lot of doubt as to what this thing is. Right? Okay, Ben, did you notice anything, Ben?
Well, yeah. I mean, not to just dwell on the obvious, but when we put everything back in, it just makes me, I realize how much is missing from my usual experience of this play, and it just keeps pointing to this sort of epicenter event that it just never occurred to me just how much that the killing of Norway 30 years ago is strangely this
Yeah.
sort of moment, because that's also when Hamlet's born, and that, if we believe the gravedigger, right? And so
Yeah.
this sort of, and I'd never, I guess I'd never really thought about the idea of, oh God, that's the way, oh, Horatio's connected. Horatio was there. And that's when he saw Hamlet's father, and that's what Hamlet's father looks like now. And Horatio so quickly sort of, and then has all these rumors at his beck and call, and very quickly puts together this, puts together a sort of idea of what might be going on in a way that I had, I think I've accepted the practicality of so many productions that we do anywhere, which is that you just know going in that Fortinbras is out. It's almost not. It's almost like that one's already, you're fighting to keep Rosencrantz and Guildenstern if you can, but you're not going to get to keep Fortinbras, and so it's just just re-remembering and just refocusing on just how much Shakespeare ties this really important event from 30 years ago in, I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And it has a witness to it here, which I think goes to the idea that Horatio is not Hamlet's age, that he very prominently has this somebody who saw Norway and Old Hamlet on the ice. I think that's interesting.
Yes,
Well,
and I think that,
it makes it
as
personal.
as you
You
have
know?
Nick playing the role, he's our young, you don't mind being young, right? He's
Please.
our young member. To hear the kind of words coming out of a young, being the comforter of Marcellus or the wiser of the other men, somehow doesn't fit to see Horatio's 18, 19, whatever I don't know what age they place Hamlet as, but you almost feel there's an older person behind those words, the knowledge that he brings to all of this. You can't just say he was just a very good student at Wittenberg. You
Or a
know.
very bad one.
Professional student.
Right.
30-year senior.
Right.
Good. So here's the thing. What I want to do is what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, I'd like to take like just a 5-minute break to breathe and shake out. But then I'd like to come back and really, if you're willing, start it and then stop and start, rather than stream
Okay.
through the whole thing. Because I think there are a few more moments that I'd like to point out to people that maybe you haven't noticed, and then you can work with that. I think we've talked about things like liegeman to the Dane. One of the things that Dr. Flatter, I'm so taken with, and I'm not quite sure how to pass it on to all of you. Maybe I should just find a way to copy it and send it to you. But his suggestion on periods is really very, very helpful, because, for instance, an example would be when Horatio says, friends to this ground, period, that it gives Marcellus a moment to think, well, that's not going to pass as a watchword here. So he can come in with the mention of the Dane. And it's just these little moments that, again, it just brings a kind of life to it. And everybody's not going, it's not going to, the earth is not going to shake from it. But again, it's this idea that, and that question comes up often, who's got the watchword? One says, long live the king. One says, liegeman to the Dane. One says, friends to the ground. Is there a watchword at all that one can depend on? Obviously, fealty to the Dane is the most important thing. And Horatio does not mention the king. So just to give it that little, if you react on that period to, oh, I better get in here and clear this up. It just adds a little something, and I think you'll find that with some of the other the uses of the periods in it too. And it's all to discover. It's all interpretive. It's not, this is what it is and nothing else. It's not absolute. All right. So let's take 5 minutes and come back.
I feel like I should be the stage manager and say, 5 is up.
5 is up. You know, I've got a visitor now. My dog really wanted to be in the room. He doesn't always like my acting, so I may have to kick him out. My old dog Emmett was my best acting coach because if I acted and it was all untruthful, he would just start barking at me if I would run lines.
Wow.
But Marlowe's just glad we're home, so he's very happy to. He just kind of wants to stay near me.
Yeah, I have a very unhappy dog right now because Lee is not in town, but
Yes, we've been gone for a week, so Marlowe is very sticky to me right now.
Be named after Christopher?
It's by way of Raymond Chandler. He's named after Philip Marlowe, but Philip Marlowe was named after Christopher Marlowe, so you know, it works.
Yeah, right. Okay.
My other favorite author.
My little. Okay, I think what I'd like to do now is to go back to the beginning. It seems to me that we're pretty well set with the beginning, but so if we can just do it, that would be great. Ben, you haven't done Horatio yet, right?
Nope.
And Randy, you haven't done Marcellus, correct?
Okay.
And Nick hasn't done Francisco, right?
I haven't done Francisco.
You haven't, Larry? Larry?
Oh, no.
You have, right?
Yes, I have. I'm sorry.
you've done all of them.
Yeah. So, Lee, what haven't you done? Have you done Barnardo?
Oh, I don't think so.
How about doing Barnardo?
Let me do Barnardo, please.
Okay, sounds great. And then
All
Nick
right.
Francisco,
Got it.
Larry, sit this one out.
Mhm.
And start, and I probably will start and stop if there's stuff that I find I can help clarify a little bit.
You're gonna give a go or just dig?
Yeah,
Dig.
just jump in.
Okay. Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Barnardo,
He,
you come most carefully upon your hour.
'tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold. I'm sick at heart.
Have you had quiet, guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand! Who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegeman to the Dane.
Give you good night.
Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Barnardo has my place. Give you good night.
Hold on just a sec, because I just want to point out that again, this is one of those parts that we need physical to clarify everything that's being said. Obviously, Barnardo is not seen by Marcellus. And so, because he has to ask Francisco who has relieved him. So when he hears that sound, he says, I think I hear them. I think what you'll find is that period is where Barnardo hides, moves into the darkness, whatever he does, because he's not sure. Because again, it's hearing them. It's not seeing them quite yet. Stand, who's there, and then we have the men meeting with each other. And then that calling forth Barnardo, we haven't gotten there, but is a symbol of calling somebody forth from somewhere. So that's where I'm getting the idea that he's just not seen. Why? I think he's scared. I think, I mean, and again, you can figure out what you'd like, but there's something that makes him not just come right next to Francisco and present himself. All right? Okay. And then you saw the section of liegeman to the Dane. Give you good night. All right. I want one thing that I want to just try in the beginning again is that for this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold and I'm sick at heart. Give a little space between those three lines, heart, guard, and stirring, and then come to good night. Again, to just help establish the testing of,
Okay.
is it possible that he saw something? Let me
Okay.
just hear what happens. And take it right from the top. There's not that much. Who's there?
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Barnardo,
He?
you come most carefully upon your hour.
'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
This relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I'm sick at heart.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand! Who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegeman to the Dane.
Give you good night.
Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Barnardo has my place. Give you good night.
Good. You see that tiny little space creates tension. And that's what we want to start to have throughout the scene. Okay, so let's go keep going. Hello, Bernardo.
Hola, Barnardo.
Say, what? Is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What? Has this thing appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Ah. Well, Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him touching this dreaded sight, twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Hush, tush, 'twill not appear.
Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story, what we 2 knights have seen.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Barnardo speak of this.
Okay, hold on just for a sec. So Ben, you want to just calm him down. Again, I think that
Okay.
when he says assail, I'm taking it primarily off the word assail. We're going to attack your ears. You're going to listen to us, man, because I know I saw both. So the part of the tension here isn't just the ooh, it's also how anxiety-ridden these men. They're made angry if they're not believed. I think you'll see that even in a little bit of Marcellus's speech. He says it's our fantasy. All right, you guys know you saw that ghost. And this guy not believing is of no help whatsoever right now. So then when we get to, well, sit we down, the long spelling on down, and let us hear Barnardo speak of it. All right, I'll do that much, I'll give you, right? And then it goes from there. What I want to point out, I thought was pretty interesting, is that there's no verb in Barnardo's speech that's coming up. So he never gets to tell us what happened. And I think those little commas there are pretty great. If you look at last night of all, you almost feel that he's looking around in the sky and then points, you know, that same star. So you can really, as we move on, Lee, really create that night, because what's going to happen is it's going to be interrupted by the entrance of that ghost. So the more you can make a ghost story around a fire.
It is a ghost story, isn't it? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Okay.
be more ghosty.
Okay. So once again, hello, Barnardo.
Hola, Barnardo.
Say, what, is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What? Has the singer appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I've entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush will not appear.
Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story, what we 2 nights have seen.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Barnardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, page turn. Where now it burns,
So I'm gonna have to
Marcellus.
go back anyway. Go
Okay.
back to last night at all and
Yeah.
actually slow it down. Allow those commas to take just a tiny pause after each one of them.
You bet.
Well, sit we down and let us hear Bernardo speak of it.
Great.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Barnardo speak of this.
Hold on one sec. Ben, be careful of being unlikable. Horatio's the hero of the play. He's the one that Hamlet loves. And if Hamlet loves him and we, the audience, love Hamlet, make him a nice guy. Okay?
You don't know how many times I've heard that note.
All right. Well,
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Barnardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating 1,
the bell
Peace.
rings.
Peace, break the all. Look, where it comes again.
Okay, I want to point one thing out. All modern texts put that ghost at the end of beating 1. And the folio puts it here. And one of the things I think that is wonderful about that is peace break the off, he joins the other men, and we see the ghost come in. Look where it comes again. So that the audience is distracted with the telling of Bernardo's telling of the tale to Horatio. Marcellus is watching to see which way the ghost is, where the ghost may come. He sees the ghost off stage, or he moves over to the men to say, stop talking, be silent. The ghost comes in, and he then points to the ghost. So the men see it, Marcellus sees it, and then we as the audience see it too, rather than we all having to see it, audience and men seeing it all at once. It's a wonderful entrance for that ghost. And again, this is not a ghost like Caesar's ghost. It's not a ghost like in Macbeth Banquo's ghost. We know who they are before they're ghosts. We've met them in the play. We have not met this ghost. We just know he's the king that's dead. And so all of when he comes in, it's an opportunity for that introduction to happen. He starts coming in. Look where it comes again. And now they can talk about it. All right? Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep going. Go back. Let's bring Leah, I'm sorry, but would you do it again, please?
Yes. Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating 1.
Peace, break the off. Look where it comes again.
In the same figure like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio.
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder.
Good. Hold on one sec. I just want to, 3 times he's asked our to speak to it, looks it not like the king, mark it. right? Most like it sound, why would they say market? Because Horatio can barely look at it. If you have Horatio looking at it, then there's no need for market Horatio. So something's happening to Horatio's fear that's making him withdraw from it. And you guys have to fight to get him to participate. He's the savior in this, if we're going to get anywhere with this ghost, right?
Don't be a reluctant hero. We need you. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's going to continue, question it, you know.
Mhm.
It would be spoke to. See that TOO on that? It would be spoke to. That's how the folio works. A long spelling like that. What would make me pull that out? You know? Okay. Once again, I like to sing. Peace, break the off.
Peace, break thee off. Look where it comes again.
In the same figure like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio.
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
So question it, Horatio.
What art thou that usurps this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Stay, speak, speak. I charge thee, speak!
That's our first moment of Horatio and the ghost. And what I mean by that, it is offended. See, he's not running away. He's stalking away, which slow and stately with some sense of indignancy. And as he's doing that, Horatio is still going to try to stop him. So he says, stay, stop, right? And then he says, speak. And then you get that semicolon. And one feels as if the ghost does stop, turns to look at Horatio. You have an opportunity for Horatio to look right into the ghost's face, speak, and then the ghost turns and leaves. I charge thee, speak, and he's gone. Actually, he leaves on after I charge thee, speak. So I think we have, if up on our feet, we would be able to actually have that moment, which could be a wonderful moment of Horatio personally seeing the ghost without Marcellus and Barnardo hovering about him. Okay, that's the first possible moment. The ghost is gone, and we can continue.
'Tis gone, and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
Yes, Lee, that's great. And here's the thing, I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it. You won. You won this battle. God damn it, you're going to sit down, you're going to hear my story. You don't believe this, and now you watch this guy tremble in front of it. Now, what do you say about that, Horatio? And I'm putting a kind of nasty edge to it. It doesn't have to be there, but I think what's important here is you won this battle. He said there was no ghost, and now
we see him trembling.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Tis gone and will not answer.
And will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on't?
Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Yeah. Is it
Yes, Dan,
not like?
Dan, I just want to make sure we're clear on this too. Before my God, there was no way I could have believed it unless I saw it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
before, he heard about it and didn't believe it. So
Yeah.
here you're basically answering his question, what think you on it? I had to see it to know, right?
There's no possible way. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. How now, Horatio?
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself, such was the very armor he had on when the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once, when in an angry parley he smote the this is the hardest line for me to say in the play. So frowned he once, when in an angry parley he smote the sledded poleaxe on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is please-
Annie, sorry, I'm being a stage manager. It's
Okay.
6:00.
Is-
We didn't really save time for questions this time, but it was kind of hard to want to stop you guys, but we've used up the time.
Okay, well, we'll pick it up, I think next time exactly with this casting. So if you guys want to look at it, and then you guys will bring in for another we'll get it in twice. But that's what I think we're at now, nitpicking. I mean, this line by line by line to make sure that we're making all the points that need to be made. And I won't, but Ben, I just want to leave you one thought. When you're talking about Norway and the armor, is it not so much a matter of this is the very armor that he had on. It's important that we hear this information, that this is the particular way he looked when he fought Norway, because that's going to come up in that long speech, and here you're introducing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
One more
Thanks.
go. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
We'll make sure there's question time next time.
Yeah, really.
Sorry. Where's Nathan?